one of the biggest thing is that, I think that before I've always loved a little bit more with more conditions, but now I'm learning how to love without condition, meaning that no matter what, I just know that I'm going to be loved. I'm also going to love the other person too. That we could fight. You don't have to have some condition like, oh my God, I have to up her, or she's going to have to do this for me, whatever. It's not about that. It's just about loving someone truly. Welcome to Love, Listings, and Legacy, where love, community, and building a lasting impact meet. We are Mony and Sophaline, a husband and wife real estate team, sharing our perspectives on life, real estate, and philanthropy, our stories about resilience and service. Join us each week as we share our journey of life, business, and giving back, all while building a legacy for our family and community. This is Love, Listings, and Legacy, where hearts, homes, and philanthropy come together. Let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Listings, and Legacy with
Mony
and Sophaline Mao. We are so delighted that you are back for another episode, and it's been quite the journey. And in this episode, we wanted to just reflect on a few key milestones in our life, right, honey?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And so, again, welcome to our show, and we hope that the past episodes have been valuable and that you found it to be educational, encouraging, and somewhat entertaining, right? Because we want to have fun. And today's episode, we are going to change things a little bit. I'm going to ask my husband here some questions, and we're just going to keep it very candid, very real, very raw. Okay? How's that sound? You ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'll stick to the real
I
part.
think he's
I don't know
like,
about the raw part, but
yeah, it's okay. So, so in this episode, what we really wanted to cover was just really reflect on the past 3 years of marriage. Oh my gosh. Can you believe 3 years has gone by?
Wow. Quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very fast.
Yep.
What they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Or 24 years and dog years, but good luck.
And we also wanted to just touch on working as a real estate team. Not only are we life partners, but we're also business partners. And last but not least, how do we collaborate when we're serving the community and working on our nonprofit boards? So, you ready to get things going? Yeah? All
Yes.
right. So, I'm going to throw this one over to my husband and let him share with you just some recent personal highlights. So since we last did our episode, I think we were like on vacation and we kind of, took a little break. So, let's ask Mony. Any highlights, personal updates that you want to share with our amazing audience here?
Not too much. I mean, towards the end of the year, it's always important to think about and reflect on all the things that happened in 2024 and before. And then also the exciting thing is about what to look forward ahead to. So that's the exciting thing about the end of the year, right? So, but also at the end of the year for us, my suggestion's always been, how do you take some time off to get away from work and to just relax, just to hang out and do different things outside of work? And then this year in particular, or 2024 in particular, towards the end of the year, I was just ready to get out of here. So
yeah, you were.
I was really, really ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
Business was decent, but it just, some of the transaction got really hard and got really heavy. And sometimes you have different clients that brings different, not issues, but the situations of real estate into your life. And because how much we care, how much I care about them so much, sometimes I take on their things into my own self and our own life, our own work life, and trying to balance that too. And sometimes it's really, really hard when things are hard. And, it's not always easy to see people. It's not, you don't always sell a home of a loving couple, right? There's also couples that are going their separate ways, and
right.
And no matter the situation, each one comes with its own uniqueness. But some of the one that's going their separate ways can be very difficult and challenging at times.
Right.
But nonetheless, you feel for them, you feel for the children, you feel for the families, and you just want to lift them up as much you can, and then take on the burdens as much as they're going through, because they're going through so much already. You want to take on as much of their burdens as you can to help them move them to the next phase of life. And that sometimes heavy for me. So, but anyhow, overall, it's been an amazing year. I'm healthy. Our family is in good shape. We're a better unit as a family. And I think that, our 3 years of marriage, I've gotten to know you a little bit better, your working style, what's important to you, what's not important to you. So it's been good. So that's my reflection.
Oh, well, wonderful. Any funny moments that you can think of? Any highlights from maybe vacation that you want to share with our audience that have been funny?
Yeah. So the funny moments, just the last, 2 weeks, right? We spent time with our grandson. He is a true entertainer. He loves the karaoke.
Yeah.
He knows songs that I don't even know. I can't sing or knows any song at all. Not one full song that I know all the lyrics to. But this kid can sing. That's kind of like the highlight, the funny moments. But just being in Florida for 5 days and being in Georgia for 5 days. In Florida, I got the time to spend at the beach. I got the fish in the backyard of our friend. Got eaten up by the no-see-um bugs, whatever that little bugs is like smaller than a teeny tiny
they tore up your
mosquito.
leg for sure.
I just got tore up, but I had a fabulous time just fishing under the dock and just chilling and playing cards and playing poker and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun. And then got to see Georgia. I've never been to Georgia really for a pleasure trip to meet with family and friends. In this case, is your aunts and uncle. Got to meet with them, spend some time with them. Really miss them. Really enjoy them. Get to know them, and just sweetheart of a couple and their daughter. And anyway, get to spend some time with them. That was really, really nice.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, no, thank you for sharing that, honey. And we definitely had a very much deserved time to relax. And I think hopefully all of us here, our audience included, that you also take time for family and take time to pause. And I think one of the things that Mony brought up is that sometimes in our line of work, when we're dealing with people and emotions, it can be really taxing, especially if you are very empathetic and you tend to absorb other people's sorrows and their grief and their struggles. It's important to also set very healthy boundaries, I think, emotional boundaries when it comes to that as well. And that realizing that, when you're helping someone going through a tough time, there's something called vicarious trauma, which is very real. And you bring that home and sometimes you have to be able to process that. So that's why sometimes, I always give my husband space for him to just process his emotions. And he might be having a bad day and he might not be ready to talk about it or share about it with me right away. And he just might need some time to just kind of veg out. And so, honey, I want to respect your boundaries and your space for that. But yeah, it's funny. When we look back to the early days of our marriage, obviously, we're still newlyweds kind of, right? But it
Yes.
doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
I think because we do get to spend a lot of time together, not only in our business, but also as a family. I think the past 3 years has been a journey for myself, being married, a little later in life, I think was good because it gave me a chance to also, mature into myself, right? Maturing into who I am authentically as a person, and then also being able to make a lot of sacrifices for family. Obviously, when you are single, you own your time, you own your space, you own your emotions and things that happen to you, you own them. And when you are in a committed relationship, such as, marriage, sometimes your spouse's issues become your issues, or your issues become their issues, or their family's issues become your issues. And that honestly is a part of marriage. You're accepting that person, and all that they come with. And, it's been good. And we had a great relaxing 3-year anniversary dinner. So thank you to everyone who sent us a happy anniversary wish. We really appreciate it. And Mony and I just are so blessed and we're so grateful. So Here's what I'm going to ask my husband. Now that we've been married for 3 years, he could be a little bit more honest and candid.
Sure.
But in our journey of marriage,
never been known for that. So yeah, go ahead.
so in our journey of marriage and partnership, what made working together as a couple feel exciting?
The first day, that was about it.
And then he's like, all right.
No, it just for me it was an opportunity. You came from the tech sector, so and it's different, and a corporate background where I came from the government. As a police officer for 17 years, and then got into the real estate business. So it's a little bit more people's business. And it's a business, so you're operating, where you're working for somebody. Now you're the owner of something, of a business that you have to learn how to be an entrepreneur, have to learn how to be your own president and CEO. Although you're an individual, you have to think that way because there's, fees, there's office space, there's, team members, there's other entities and titles and companies and lending and inspection company. There's so many other entities you have to deal with, you have to work with on a regular basis to make sure you accomplish that one sale. So there's a lot more. But the cool thing is that, for me, it was being able to teach you a little bit more about where I come from. To me, I can't go back to work 9 to 5. So if I could show you the ropes, how to make money in real estate and make a decent living doing it, and do it professionally, and then that it also gives you the own freedom not to have to go back to the corporate job where you're kind of slaving, 10, 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours per day, and you're still traveling. To me, that is not a quality of life as you get older. When you're younger, great. But when you're older, that's not what I want to do. I just want to make, work a little bit, make enough money to do what I need to do, and then get the time to spend with family. For me, it's the greatest thing is doing charity work, like making a difference, like truly making a difference in the lives of others by just finding them resources, just find them grocery stores, a bit to donate to a food pantry, and getting funds for a local garden. That makes me happier than anything else I could do in my work life. So.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And definitely have learned a lot from you. And sometimes I am kicking and screaming, but I totally get it. And I think that, as a couple, that it's okay to have different likes and different interests and different things, and I think that's what keeps a relationship strong. You don't have to always agree. You don't always have to like what they like. That just would be really boring. And also too, I feel like, you wouldn't be your true authentic self if you liked everything the other person liked. So
and you don't always
good.
have to like the other person either.
Yeah,
but you have to love them, but you don't always
well,
have to like
sometimes,
them. Yeah.
especially when you work together, sometimes you don't have to agree, but you have to at least at the end of the day come to a consensus. And I think that's, and later on in the next segment, we'll talk about that. But how do you think, for other couples who are considering working together, have you found any best practices in defining like personal and professional boundaries, like kind of roles and responsibilities? Any advice that you want to share?
I think that when I first thought about this business and introducing to it and having you come in, really dragging you to come in and you don't want to be drugged in at all. You don't want to do it at all. But it just and then you kind of show you the ropes. But when someone's not really passionate about it, but you're still trying to show them the ropes. So it takes a little bit more patience. And then figure out that obviously to have the expectation that your other half, is not going to be like you. There's going to be different skill set. There's different likes and dislikes that he or she's going to have. So you have to figure out what is it they like, what they don't like, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, what are they really, really good at, and then focus on that. But you have to work together a little bit to figure out what the differences are. For example, I'm a straight, caller, a person that goes out and meet with people to have all the vendors in place to figure out how to get the listing and then figure out all the vendors to go with it. And I'm quick on it. I have all the resources. I could make phone calls while I'm on the way back to the office, on the way into the home, whatever. I could just get all those things done where I don't want to do marketing. I don't want to do video. I don't want to do Instagram ads. I don't want to do, post it on LinkedIn. I don't want to post it on Facebook and, learning how to create all the ads and all that. It's not that I haven't done it. I've done all those things when I started on my own, and I've done it successfully. But those are the things I learned that I don't want to do. And the things that I don't want to do, I want to hire someone else that has those skill set that is, that's what they like to do. And that's really, really important to really figure out. But a lot of times you can't figure it out unless you work together a little bit to know the likes and don't likes and what they're good at, what they're not good at. And then you kind of work it through. And then once you get that, and he goes, okay, now we know, so Sophie does the MLS listings, the marketing, the video, the Facebook and the Instagram ads, and, give me the data of all, for each one of the listings from Zillow to Redfin to all the different avenues that the homes is distribute to once it goes on MLS as a live home on the market. So those are the things that I need help with. It's not that I can't get them, but I'd rather have someone else that knows how to do it all the time to get this information to me quickly, so I provide it to the seller, especially when a home's not selling. And by the way, when the home is not selling, the seller is having the same stress, so you want to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of them, because they want to know, hey, what are you going to do next? What's the next marketing? What else are you adding? Are you doing more Facebook ads for me? Are you doing more Instagram ads for me to expose my home? That's what they want to know. Okay, how are you going to solve their pain point? That's what they really want to know that.
That's great advice from Mony, I think, in terms of just being able to decipher the strengths and weaknesses of your business partner. But I think there's a fine line between kind of making sure that you as a leader, as a people manager, that you understand your team, you understand what gets them up in the morning, you understand their working styles. I think Mony said it earlier. You have to kind of get to know, like, where are their skill sets and where can they really truly shine. I think real estate business is just like any other business. Like, it is the business of relationships. It's the business of execution. It's really much very similar to running an entire organization, except that for
on a
us,
small scale,
we wear several hats. And so for me, I think if I'd like to add to what Mony said, I think that defining those roles and responsibilities early on is actually very paramount, because you want to be able to have clearly defined roles, and you also have to trust the other person that that is their role, and you need to also give them autonomy to make those decisions. Because the worst thing, and I felt this way, guys, I came from corporate America. The worst thing, nobody wants a micromanager. Nobody wants to feel incompetent. Nobody wants to feel like they're not effective or they're not delivering. And so as a manager, and hopefully this will help many of you as well in your businesses, if you have staff, if you have people working for you, having those difficult conversations is really important, because it's going to get you really to understand truly how can you make that person excel. But also, as a business owner, you need that person to also contribute to your business in a major way. And so I think communication is also really important. That's something that Mony and I have learned to do. We communicate great as husband and wife, but as business partners, we also have to remember to communicate very respectfully. And sometimes we do, if I have to say myself, honey, very honestly, is like sometimes we cross the line where the way that we talk to each other, we would never, ever talk to a client, a vendor, a business partner.
Or our bosses.
Or like a superior. We would never talk that way. But because we are husband and wife, we feel like it's more comfortable, right? Like you can talk to your spouse a certain way, and it's not, sometimes it's not okay, because especially if you are in a professional setting where there are other team members, there's other people there, you also have to be very mindful. And that's something that we have, and we're sharing very openly and authentically. We're not perfect. I mean, we're human. But one of the things that we have to work on is not bringing that like husband-wife dynamic where we're bickering at each other and bringing that to work, because it can create a hostile, emotionally uncomfortable environment for some people. So
at home and at work. So that's really, but also expect that, when you have that dynamic relationship between the husband and wife, that it's normal to argue once in a while. It's not to say that it shouldn't happen, but it's normal. It's going to happen no matter what, no matter how much you try. Believe me, we all know our the push buttons for each person.
There's always going to be conflict.
There's always going to be conflict.
Yeah.
But just remember that no matter what the argument is, what's the true intention of where the message is coming from. Although the person may be frustrated, just know that, does this person love me for me? And that when we go home, we're still going to love each other. Is that the case? And sometimes when you argue, you'll know if that's the case or not, because it's not about one-upping each other, but rather about, is this coming from love, even though you say in a harsh voice, whatnot, it's normal. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be normal, but I'm just saying that it does happen, but just got to know that, is it coming from a place of love, a place of someone to be better, or you're just simply frustrated at a point where you got to say something. And sometimes that's what you have to do. So, but it's really, really important. That's one of the lessons I learned, is that, listen, if I have to walk out of here at one point, just know that I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back in a short time. I'll call you in a little bit, whatever. But if you just leave and, for several hours and not say anything, that's when things get really, really bad. We try not to do that. That's not what we do.
Yep.
But that's one of the things I learned about Sophie is that, we may not get along at times, but she never forget to love me. She always does. So that's helpful.
Of course, I love you, honey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last bit I'll say is, I've heard this from other people, is that, it's normal to disagree, and that disagreements are just a part of life. They're a part of every relationship, just as Mony said earlier. But, just remember that it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to disrespect. And when you respect someone and when you love them, that to me comes hand in hand. Like, you would never disrespect someone that you love, in any way, like overstep, their emotional boundaries, verbally demean them, be verbally abusive, things like that, right? Those are all things that nobody wants that. So I think that having healthy disagreements is great. And sometimes Mony and I, we have healthy debates. But at the end of the day, when you're working together, if there's a decision that has to be made, you have to come to a consensus, and sometimes one person has to sacrifice their wants for the greater collective good. And I think that's what, we have that mutual understanding, is that even though it might not be the way I'd like to do things, but for the greater good, and if I feel like, okay, there's data to back it up and that might be a good decision, I usually will go with Mony's executive decision and go with it. And then what we do as a couple is then we reflect and then we debrief, right, honey? And then we decide, like, okay, is this working? And we've done this a few times with like marketing activities as well. We'll give it a try. And then we look at the numbers and we look at the ROI, and then we just decide as a team, like, okay, well, maybe that's not right. And then that's not the best use of our money. So I think that's really important. And so as we now switch gears a little bit, obviously you are just running 100 miles per hour. I mean, we're balancing our real estate business. Looks like things are picking up, but maybe, we also have a life outside of real estate where we serve on nonprofit boards, and we serve many nonprofit organizations, whether we attend a fundraiser or whether we sponsor or whether we actually serve as a board member. Maybe you could share with the audience, what is Mony's motivation? What is your motivation behind serving on nonprofit boards? I mean, you already have such a busy schedule with like real estate and our family and, things that we manage at home. So what keeps you motivated in serving on the nonprofit side?
I mean, of course, spending time with the family, whether it's mom, whether it's our niece, and just you and I and our family and the boys and our grandson, and our friends, that's really, really near and dear to my heart. But when it comes to my work, really, to me, it's a tool. Work is just my tool to make the money in order to live. That's not what makes me happiest. What makes me happiest is actually when I'm able to send an email introduction to someone and change their life, whether they got a job out of it, whether they got a donation out of it, whether they got a grant out of it. That's what makes me happiest. So that's why, for example, in January this year, I was in the Rotary Club for 10 years, and I took 10 years off. But as of January this year, of last year, sorry, I returned back to Rotary. And during my 1 year now that I spent with Rotary, I mean, I got to know so many more amazing people. And then when I did it 20 years ago, I wasn't just, I was a young police officer. I was a young community member. I didn't appreciate it as much. But now as I get older, it's like, wow, the relationship is so much better. I have so much more information and leadership skills and knowledge to offer nonprofit organization. I have so much more experience in a nonprofit from, for example, being the co-founder of the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance. I've been in every leadership level, from programs to fundraising to everything you could think of how to be a part of a nonprofit. I've done all those things now. I could bring all this to the table to make another organization, or make other people better, and help an organization really to reach its mission. That's what it comes down to. So that's why, for example, I serve on Rotary. I'm on a Rotary board now. I'm the coordinator of the Las Positas President Scholars Program. So I get to work with 40 students and be part of their lives for a whole entire year, where I get to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours each month teaching them about leadership, what it means to be a leader, the role, the responsibility, the importance of. That's exciting for me. I get to be with them. And then the third, like for example, yesterday was my first day joining the Rotation Foundation of Livermore. Rotation Foundation of Livermore kind of supersedes both of the Rotary clubs in Livermore, and we raise a lot of money. And the question is, when we raise a lot of money, what do we do with that money? How are we going to be impactful in a community locally and internationally? One of the things I'm going to be looking at personally is trying to apply for a Rotary Global Grant up to possibly $300,000 to build a tech hub in Siem Reap, Cambodia, under an economic development grant to change so many lives in this region. Imagine graduating students will be able to get certification in Google Suites and Microsoft and many, many other platforms, and they learn how to code, they learn how to do tech, they learn how to repair computers perhaps. Truly, in that part of the world, in Cambodia, where it's still a developed country, that would really truly change the region and would change so many lives by the economics of what they learn through our program from the tech hubs. So that's what I look forward to. That's what's make me happiest. And I wouldn't mind flying out there 2-3 times a year just to see how it's going, to meet the contact that we need to meet in order to make this thing happen for that region of Cambodia.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I firsthandly see how motivated and passionate you are. And I think also the other word I want to say is committed. You're very committed for the nonprofits that you do serve, whether it's Rotary, whether it's Caring for Cambodia, or whether it's connecting people to the nonprofits, and even just still being a part of TVNPA, although you've stepped back from, being obviously on the board, and that was your journey, and now your journey is moving you forward. So that's really great to hear. And I think, the only thing I might want to also add, I think also, if I do want to also contribute to what you said, is that, I see your motivation is because of your background. And I think for us as Cambodian American refugees coming from Cambodia, that has a part in why we give back. And I think when you think about, why do people give back, right? There's always a cause, there's always a mission. It's always something altruistic inside of them that makes them truly want to give back. Because quite honestly, no one has to give back. People could just, be all about themselves, filling their own cups, and they don't really have to. There's nothing that says you have to give back. But I think people who do give back have gone through some sort of struggle in their life, and they were blessed with some fortune in some way. And then now that they do have the means to, they are able to generously give back. And I don't want that to be something that, people don't understand. And it's not for accolades. It's not for recognition. It's not for being in the newspaper. It's nothing like that. I think Mony and I, if I want to just say that, for us, giving back is, we give so much back that sometimes, no one else needs to know except for us, whatever it is that we want to do. So, obviously nonprofit is really important in our lives. Do you want to share with everyone what was like your favorite nonprofit project or anything that is notable for you?
Well, to me, growing up as a refugee, as a child in a war zone, and living in a little shack with 4 stilts above ground with no running water, no electricity, and going to bed hungry every night, the greatest nonprofit that comes to mind each and every day for me is I think about the people and what they have to go through. Those who are unhoused, those who have lived on the street, live in cars, live in hotels, or just in bushes just to make ends meet. I think about them. I think about the weather. I think about what they have to deal with. Not only financially, but medically. Just all the health issues that may come up. I think about them. The biggest thing that comes to me is about thinking about them and do they have food to eat? So nonprofits such as Tri-Valley Haven, for example, they also help with the unhoused. Open Heart Kitchen, one of the biggest nonprofits in Livermore and in this region, where they provide up to 10 meals for people or individuals who need help with just food. So you could take bag of hot foods with you, and they also provide temporary shelter. They also at nighttime you can come and get a spot. They have 20 cots there. You could take a spot there at their facility. You could take showers there, and anytime during the day, 24/7. You could also bring your laundry. They have laundry room where you can get all your laundry done. These are necessities in order for a single human person to live, and I think it's really, really important. So housing is a right that everyone should have an opportunity to have. But I think about them and how they're unhoused, the weather, the medical, the food that they don't have in their stomach. And as a child, I went to bed hungry many times with an empty stomach, and there are times when I had to cry myself to sleep because I didn't have the food. Eating bugs and animal was not enough. We just need more, and we just need to be much more healthy. Those are the nonprofits I think about. There are many people doing great things, but that's what near and dear to my heart. That's what touched my heart the most, and that's make me think about people quite a bit every night, every day.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that so openly. And I think, again, going back to your need to serve, I think it comes from your very humble background, and also just being a survivor of war and conflict and surviving a genocide. For me, I think, Honey, since we've been married the past 3 years, I think for me, and even before we got married, is the Mony turkey drop. I think every year that is our biggest project in terms of giving back that we do. And we're so honored. And again, just to be able to support the local families here, to be able to have a nice dinner, on Thanksgiving, and also be part of the holiday program. And I think for myself, being able to join you on that crusade. And this year is going to be our 10th
year.
Mony turkey drop, supporting the Tri-Valley Haven. And for me, it's just an honor and privilege to also serve on the board for Tri-Valley Haven.
That in itself is it's something that it's near to my heart, because it has to do with food again. So we want to make sure that every families in the Tri-Valley, in the Bay Area, if they do come here, that they too can go to bed with a full stomach. It's important to get some turkeys, get some grocery, get shelter. It's really, really important. So that's why we do the Mony turkey drop, where we collect turkeys, gift cards, and cash for our local families here, and provide all those gifts that we receive to the Tri-Valley Haven, where they distribute to 900 plus members, families of our community. That's a lot.
Great. Well, as we shared, we really, again, just giving back is a core value. And I think that is so integral for our marriage and the legacy that we want to leave behind. So in 2025, do you have any exciting goals or anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Actually, I do. So one of the things I do now, and this year, thanks to you gave me a podcast on the mind and how to utilize our mind, and also that's important to do affirmation. So one of my affirmations about wealth and money, but it's not so much about the fact that I want to receive a lot of money. I wouldn't mind it. But it's also what am I going to do with it? So, for example, for me, wealth my wealth would create wealth for others. My wealth would create opportunities for others. My wealth would allow me to be more, to do more, to give more to the world. That's what I look forward to. But I'm asking for wealth because I deserve it. That I'm going to do good with it. And I promise to do good with it. I've always done that throughout my life, and I will never, ever, ever forget where I came from. So I've always want to do more. So it's a perfect opportunity. So I just hope that I'll have that opportunity to receive more and to be able to give more in the same process. That would really, really make my life so much more happier. And then just the opportunities to work with different leaders in the community. For example, I just joined the Rotarian Foundation a little more. We have about 15, 16 people on the board, and it's a pretty good nonprofit foundation that has quite a bit of funds in there to do many, many things. But how do you help the leadership to take a look at what's important in this community? Look at major projects, possibly working with the city, with the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, with the LARPD. I don't know what this is going to look like, but it would be so cool to come up with something that we could do together that for the benefit of our community. I think that's what I look forward to.
That's cool now. And I think maybe your topic about just wealth and our relationship with money and wealth and how we look at it, I think that is in itself like a podcast episode. Maybe we can talk about that another time. But yeah, just like you, honey, I'm really excited for just this year and this next chapter, obviously going into, just growing our relationship even further and our family, especially. I think now as we get ready to welcome my daughter-in-law, our family's going to continue growing. And for me, I think what I'm most excited about is really just to keep that momentum going and, setting an example of what it means to be, a positive role model for the kids and for our grandson and for our nephews and our niece. Obviously, any family, they tend to model behavior that they see. And so that's something that, we have become better about. I think when they see us strong and when they see us being able to communicate in a healthy way, that is, comes with love and compassion, I think it's going to help them as they grow their marriage as well as, build their own families. And then the other thing really, guys, is this podcast. Like we are on our 12th episode and, I have to shamelessly say that, obviously real estate is our day to day, but this podcast is, our baby, and I'm so grateful. And that's another thing is like, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my husband for really allowing me to have this space to express and create and share. I really wish I would have done this years and years ago. I think that it was my only regret is that I should have done this sooner, but it's not important that we look back and have regrets, but it's important that we take action today. And so although the podcast is getting going, my biggest thing is I really want to double down. And so you're going to see some episodes where it's Mony and I, you're going to see some where it's just Mony, somewhere it's just me. And what I'm really looking forward to in season 2 is inviting amazing guests to join us on this show and be able to just ask them questions, get advice from them, have them share, and really truly make this podcast your place to get inspired, to get empowered, and also just to feel good and laugh a few times, things like that. So that's what I'm really excited about. But I'm going to wrap up by just, sharing one thing that I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for my husband. So thank you, honey, for all that you do. I know you wake up in the morning and you just go, go, go. And sometimes we don't take time in our day to say thank you. So thank you for all that you do for us and the family. And we appreciate you so much and all your sacrifices. And we just hope that you know that. So also grateful for our health. I think as we get older, I think health becomes something that is very, it can change overnight in the blink of an eye. And so I think health is also important. And the last thing is really just our community. So grateful for our community of friends, of clients, of people that we meet whether it's on social media, whether it's through our podcasting, whether it's in person. I'm just really grateful for the community that we have, because the quality of your life and the peace and the happiness that you have really is your community. So what about you, honey?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things happening coming up in about a year and a half is actually I'm going to be a father-in-law to somebody. Which, I've always
Are you grateful for that?
Yeah, I'm grateful for that.
You have a daughter?
I've raised the boys since they were 7 and 8 years old on my own. And they lived with me since and a little more since. And now my youngest is going to be a husband, and I'm going to have a daughter-in-law. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's a Stanford nurse. So actually, never really had a gal or girl in my life. So I think that it's going to be different. And I hope that, to get to know her better and to develop a better friendship with her and relationship with her. So this way we could all, get to know each other better and do more together as a family. So and then bringing her family into our family, I think it's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And then the second thing is that, like you said, the community's been amazing. I've been part of this community for almost 30 years now, since 1995. It is 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I've met so many incredible people, and I've just been so blessed to have received the love and support that I have in this community. Part of it is also I have to get out there to give that as well. But to that point, based on what I give and what I receive is so much more. So I'm very, very thankful for all the support, for whether it's on a personal level, on a nonprofit level, or business level and professional level. I'm just totally grateful for your love and support. And the last thing I want to so grateful for is actually, it's been 3 years since we've been married. There's a lot of things I had to learn about myself. From our relationship, I learned more about me, about myself, about my identity, about who I am, where I came from, the language. I'm getting better at speaking Khmer and Cambodian, so that's a lot. But I think the one of the biggest thing is that, I think that before I've always loved a little bit more with more conditions, but now I'm learning how to love without condition, meaning that no matter what, I just know that I'm going to be loved. Mm-hmm. And I'm also going to love the other person too. That we could fight. You don't have to have some condition like, oh my God, I have to up her, or she's going to have to do this for me, whatever. It's not about that. It's just about loving someone truly and knowing that no matter what, that you're going to have to be there for them as well. So I think that that's something that you taught me and something that I'm learning. I'm learning how to be better about that. I even just had a conversation with my oldest son that I asked him if he had seen the change, that I strive to make changes for me, who I am, to become a better person, a better husband, a better father, a better friend to people, and a better family members. That's one of the things I'm working on. And he said yes. So, and I asked him to do the same for himself. So hopefully that will work down the road, but we'll see what happens. But anyhow, I'm learning a lot about me, who I am, about love, about so many things that I didn't know before, because I, didn't happen to grow up in a family that has the unity that what we're supposed that's normally you would find in a family. So,
wow. So this episode has been very healing and very inspiring. I mean, even for us, and it's so wonderful that we get to invite you in on this very candid and very vulnerable conversation together. But Mony and I just want to thank all of you so much. We've got 12 episodes under our belt, and we look forward to the next few episodes. So if you haven't done so, we would be so grateful if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that you enjoy your podcast, we are there. So we thank you so much, and we look forward to sharing even your stories. And if that's something you'd like to do, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, please reach out to us, and we would love to share your story with others. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode of Love, Listings, and Legacy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining Love, Listings, and Legacy this week. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Join us next time as we continue to navigate the path from adversity to success, one property and one purpose-driven decision at a time. Thanks for listening.